Your refusal to take a leadership position in your own relationship is what's making your woman not love you, not respect you, lose attraction for you, and ultimately leave you. The biggest mistake I see modern men making in long term relationships is continuously deferring to their woman for making decisions. What most guys will do when they're courting a woman or when they're dating her, they will make plans, they'll take her out on dates, they'll suggest things, they'll pick her up, they'll lead the relationship where they want it to go. Then, when they maybe put a ring on her and get married, or maybe when she gives the commitment and say, "Hey, I'm your woman, you're my guy," the dude essentially thinks that he's won. He's reached the finish line. He's won the prize. And so all of the things that he did to get her sort of go out the window because he's already gotten her. And so a lot of men will do this thing where they'll just start deferring to her about, yeah, we'll go where you want to go. We'll do whatever you think we should do. You make the decision, you make the call. I'm just sort of go with the flow. And a lot of guys think that deferring to their woman is ultimately giving her what she wants because a lot of women say, hey, I want to go here. I want to do this. But one of the things I tell guys, and something that they really need to embody and understand if they want to have successful relationships with women, whether it's short term or long term, is you have to give women what they need, not what they want. See, women are traditionally driven, for the most part, by their emotions. And if we know anything about emotions, they can be fickle, they can change by the minute on a dime. And so making decisions based on any emotion, whether positive or negative, is not always the best measuring stick or barometer to use when it comes to evaluating whether that decision is going to be a good one or not. And so, what a woman will do when she makes these decisions, she'll make the decision in the moment. So, what you're doing is you are taking the back seat to your woman, to a generally more emotional being, which is putting your relationship at risk. Because if decisions are being made that are not good overall and they're not logically sound, it could spell disaster for your relationship. And because women are not naturally hardwired to sort of take responsibility or take accountability for their choices, which is okay, it's a subconscious thing, she's going to look at you and say, well, it's your fault that we're in this predicament because you didn't step up and do your job as a leader. And a lot of guys might get mad about this and said, I let her make the decision. Why can't she just be happy with the decision? Or I let her make the decision. It's her fault. Why can't she take accountability? And this is why I make these videos. And this is why I try to tell you guys the differences between men and women at their core. Women don't think like men, and men don't think like women. So, one of the dumbest things you can do is give away your leadership and give away your masculine authority to your woman in the relationship. Because A, it's more likely that she'll make a decision that's maybe disadvantageous to your relationship. And B, if things do go wrong, she's not going to take any responsibility or accountability for it. She's going to find a way to push the blame off of her onto you. And again, this is okay. This is the way that women work. You guys have to understand that from an Evo Psych perspective, women really, since the beginning of time, have never really taken accountability or responsibility because self preservation is their number one priority, survival. So you take a woman who is not as physically strong or fit, who traditionally can't fight as well as men, ward off predators or invading men, and then you put her in a position where she maybe makes a bad call. And then if you make a bad call for your tribe or for your community, it's likely that you're going to be cast out of your community. It's likely you're going to be cast out into the wild. And women, if they don't have the protection of men or the hive mind or the community or even the underlying foundations of society that they have now, aren't able to survive in the wild. They would be dealt with and killed quickly, easily, with very little fight. So that sort of evolutionary hardwiring has not been undone over the last 100 years, 200 years, even the last 500 years. We're talking about evolutionary mechanisms that have stood the test of time and have been reaffirmed for hundreds of thousands of years. Now, for a lot of guys, this is not something that happens overnight. It's a slow death. So it starts with little things like, hey, what time should we go to the game tonight? Or what should we get for dinner? Or, hey, I'm thinking about we should go here and do this. What do you think? And guys, because they just are lazy thinkers in general, and they just say, hey, like whatever you want, it doesn't really matter to me. Guys are really apathetic about a lot of things. Guys generally don't care as long as they don't have to make the decision. They're a lot like women in some ways, where guys and humans in general don't always like to make decisions because if you make bad decisions, like I mentioned earlier, you are responsible for whatever consequences of those decisions come about. And that's just a burden you bear as a leader. And I think good leaders, and if you want to be a good leader in your household and your relationship, then two things. You need to have the masculine authority to make those calls, but you also need to bear 100% responsibility for what that call may be. And if you're willing to do that, your woman will fall in line. Your woman will follow you as the leader. Now, that's not to say if you make continuously and routinely bad calls, if you're constantly making mistakes, you're doing things that puts you or her or children or the relationship itself in danger or in jeopardy, then yeah, she's going to stop looking at you as the masculine leader that deserves her following. But if you're somebody that can be competent and you're making good calls, especially if it's for the betterment of the relationship, then you're probably going to be in pretty good shape. This is where it's super imperative for men to have a purpose and a mission and a envisioned goal for how they want the relationship and their lives to be. See, a lot of women don't want to take control. As much as they say they do, they want the 50-50 partnership. When women say that, they want to have a say in the decision making, but they generally don't want to be the final decision maker. And as long as you're a guy who's on his path, on his mission, on his purpose, and you're moving forward in the right direction, she is far more likely to go along with whatever direction that is, as long as you are moving in the right direction. It's when guys get stagnant. It's when they get lazy. It's when they stop working hard. It's when they stop picking up new skills, when they stop trying to grab the next rung of that proverbial ladder. That's when women start to get uncertain. That's when they start to fear, because you're always going to have to make decisions in relationships. There's always going to be conflict. There's always going to be decisions that have to be made for the relationship to move forward or for life to move forward. Life is about making decisions. And so when you stop making those decisions as a man, then you are shifting the burden of responsibility and shifting the burden of leadership onto your woman who never asked for it in the first place. And now she's leading a man instead of following a man, which means a couple of things. A, she can't look up to you, which means B, she can't respect you. C, she can't be attracted to you. And she's certainly not going to want to sleep with you, or certainly not going to see you as a strong, powerful, virtuous, masculine man that she wants to be with romantically and be in love with for the end of time. She's going to start seeing you more as a combination of a roommate and a child. And this is when women start to get all up in arms about the mental load and picking up clothes and picking up socks and things like that. Women that are really head over heels in love with their men don't care about that kind of stuff. They don't bitch and piss and moan about laundry, about dishes, about, clutter around the house, because women actually love taking care of their men that they're in love with. Women love doing things for their men. Women fall in love with men when they're doing things for them, not the other way around. That's why when women get put on these pedestals and guys are like buying them flowers and sending them a bunch of heart emojis, they're like, dude, get away from me, because that's not the natural order and the natural polarity of men and women. Women want to look up to a giant that's on his mission. Women want to look up to a man who's got a sparkle in his eye, but she doesn't want to be that focus and that sparkle. Because if a guy is spending all of his time catering to her, being the doormat for her, placing her on this pedestal, doing things solely for her benefit, that means life in the relationship is not moving forward. Because things are going to happen, like I said, outside of that relationship, and decisions are going to have to be made. And so, one of the things guys have to embody and understand is that the leadership and your burden of performance never ends. And I can understand why this is frustrating, because I think guys grow up thinking that, hey, once the ring is on the finger and once we're married and we have a house with kids, the credits roll, right? That's it. And then they lived happily ever after. But you don't understand that you have to continuously do the things to get her, to keep her. You have to continuously do the things that are going to propel your life forward, to show her that she can be a willing and happy passenger as you're on your path. So it behooves men to not deviate from their purpose, not deviate from their path, not deviate from their mission. Make good calls, make good leadership decisions based on logic and sound reasoning, not based on emotion and spur of the moment things that may pop up. A woman is looking for you to do that. A woman is often looking to see if you will put her in her place, if you will make a decision that maybe goes against hers, because a woman will constantly test you for competence and confidence. She'll constantly test you subconsciously. Again, it's not their fault, but she'll test you to see if you are the right man to lead this relationship and you are the right man for the job. And even something as simple as, where should we go to eat tonight? Or, hey, what do you think we should do about this? Or, I need your opinion on that. And every time that you defer to her and say, I don't care wherever you want to go, or why don't you just make the decision? You are giving your leadership away and you are chipping away at this idealized version of yourself that she should have. Now she's going to stop looking at you as a leader. She's going to stop looking at you as a man that you can trust. And then eventually the relationship is going to break down and she's going to find some other guy that is willing to take the lead and willing to make the decisions. So, guys, if you want to be successful in a long term relationship, you have to understand that leadership is probably the number one thing you can have. And that encompasses a lot of things. It's not just decision making, staying in shape, continuing to work hard and making money, throwing yourself at your mission and your purpose. All of those things are subconscious leadership that she's going to see. And like I said before, as long as that ship is still moving forward in a positive direction and you're making good decisions, and she sees the benefit of those choices and the benefit of those decisions, she's going to stick around long term. And you can sure bet that she's going to look up to you as a man that she can follow, respect, and love. So I just wanted to drop that on to you guys today. If you want to learn more about leadership and how to properly lead a woman and understand what her mind is going through when she's testing you or when she's trying to see if you're that guy, click the link in the pinned comment. You can get access to my school community called the Academy, where we teach guys how women work up here and how guys can use that to their advantage to get better results when it comes to dating and relationships with women. So I'll see you guys next week. Be sure to hit the follow button, the like and subscribe, comment below if you liked it, and I'll see you guys next time.